Okay. All right, I'd like to call to order the regular monthly meeting of December 13th, 2018. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Barbarullo?
Here.
Dr. Cohen? Here. Mrs. Frankel?
Present.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Here.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Here.
Mr. Santana?
Here.
Mr. Spindell?
Present.
Mrs. Wallace?
Here.
And Mr. Banta?
Here. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies in which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Fair Lawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having a date, time, and place thereof, distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, sent to the Bergen County Record and the Star Ledger. The announcement posting for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, time, and place thereof, was distributed on November 21st, 2018. Items to be discussed during closed work session of December 13th, 2018 may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations and/or grievances, and tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. The results of these discussions will be made public as soon as possible. Would you join me in a flag salute? Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mr. Norcia for comments.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't comment on what took place today in Fair Lawn. We had a scare. We had a threat, a hoax, spam email that came into the district. However, as you probably saw, we were not the only district in New Jersey, in Bergen County, or in the country. This was a countrywide thing that hit businesses, government agencies, schools. But what I will say is that, we learned a lot today. We learned a lot in how we react and how we communicate. We learned, most importantly, all our students went home safe tonight, and that's the most important thing. And I just want to, acknowledge, everybody administratively, teachers, everybody that worked together in a time like this in such a quick instance. I just can't. The police, the Bergen County Sheriff's Office, the county, the OEM. Just thank you to everyone. But most importantly, that our students went home safe, and that's the most important thing. With that being said, I'm going to dive into a couple of things. The first one is something exciting, a recommendation that came to us in the summer when we received additional funding from the state, the $2.1 million. There was a recommendation to do something exciting like an innovative grant application for our schools that goes above and beyond the curriculum. So we wrote a grant application for all of our elementary schools, a $1,000 grant that the teachers or anybody in a school can apply for. And those applications went to the principal and then funneled its way through central office. And we're excited tonight to award those grants to each building. Some of the things that are being awarded tonight are, one of them is a sensory calming room for students to go to. One of them has to deal with mindfulness. Several maker space carts that could travel around the building so that everybody could use them. Another really awesome one is at Warren Point. It's a little green room TV where they can do a little news thing, and they can do like the news from Warren Point every morning with like a green screen behind it and a camera. So there's some really, really great stuff that we're awarding to our schools in Fair Lawn, and it was a great idea and something that we're really happy that we could give out. And we were like, how far will $1,000 go? Well, our teachers and our staff they were pretty crafty. They were pretty crafty, and they came up with it. So we're really proud to award those grants tonight and to see that go back into the schools. Another thing, the school calendar. School calendar update tonight. There is 2 school calendars on here. We're on our 14th and 15th version, so I hope you could respect that we took some time on this process. We heard your concerns, and we heard your concerns from the last meeting. We heard your concerns when you emailed us. We know that it's not a perfect science. We know that we're not going to be able to please everybody, but we needed to take the construction into consideration, but also the parents and childcare issues into consideration. So we have 2 calendars where we tried to tweak and work with them and take a look at. You want to save that for the end, though, you said, or do you want to?
I may put it at the beginning, there's a lot of
Okay.
people here, I'm not sure how many people here.
Okay, so there's 2 calendars. I will just jump in and explain them to you now, since there's a lot of people here, as Gene said, and we'll look in. There's calendar K and M in the back of your agenda. The M calendar, let's start with M. The M calendar still has a week off in November. That was something that we spoke about at the last meeting about closing Election Day. Both calendars have Election Day closed next year. However, the M calendar closes the whole entire week. And what we also did was, the last week of June, we now put 2 full days in and 2 half days. In addition, what we did was, Mike Shansky and the community school, we were able to work with them to extend our summer camp to August 23rd, so hopefully that could help parents out that were worried about childcare. And in addition, run a camp the week of November for any parents that want to send their son or daughter to camp for the week of November at a very, very good rate. So, not expensive at all. I thought it was very reasonable, but we're not moving forward with sharing all the details yet until we actually vote on the calendar. But it allows us to hear your concerns about what do we do with our son or daughter the week of November. We were able to put a calendar in, and what do we do now that the summer is getting a little bit longer with that extra week of construction? We extended the camp a week longer than what it was last year. The K calendar is the November week, just closed on Election Day, and 2 shorter days, two less days the month of June. So we would only be here the weeks Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday, the last week of June. Gene?
Why don't we, let's do retirements, then we'll get into that.
Before we do retire, you want me?
Well, finish your comments.
Let me finish my comments, and then we can jump into the calendar. The music program, also on the heels of the state aid, there was discussion about the music program and how we could provide or reallocate funds to help them out. And I'm pleased to announce that, we worked with Liliana Lopez, our supervisor of music, Dr. Lacatina, myself. She has been meeting with the music department, Friends of Music, frequently since that summer month. We were able to look, and we were able to, it was $40,000, $20,000, about $22,000 to be exact, to repair every instrument in Fair Lawn School District so that it is up to par and ready to go. In addition to that, we took $10,500 that'll go towards trips, buses, admissions, however they choose to spend it, and we're going to figure those details out, but we figure $10,500 is going to go towards that. An additional $10,000, give or take, is going to go to, it was a wish list from our music department that these instruments or these supplies, we could really use this district-wide, and met with everybody in the music department, and then we prioritized what we felt was, we were able to do this school year and work with them, so money was going there. In addition, we upgraded our tuning of the pianos from 1 time a year to 2 times a year, and then also looking at the calendar of when we tune our pianos, so that it's, don't tune them in May, because when we're not using them in July and August, and maybe, tune them, right before the concerts or right before they start practicing. So we're taking a lot of things into consideration, but I just wanted to give you an update of where the funds were going since August, because we know there are, a couple people were asking, and we just finally had a meeting and were able to start spending that money. And Brooke, do you want to do your referendum update?
Sure. I'll
Okay.
just keep it very brief. So there's 2 items on this agenda that deal directly with the referendum. You'll see the high school HVAC project and the TJ parking lot. Those are very, the easy part of the referendum. What we're going to see in January is we're going to go out for bid for both the construction for the addition at Memorial and TJ with our goal, our milestone date that we've worked out with our architects and our construction manager is to award those contracts in February. Which would allow them to start staging in March. And then, of course, the summertime would be our heaviest construction time. So we are on schedule. We've been meeting very frequently to go over the designs and coming up with really good bid strategies so that we can get really attractive bid package together to get good quality companies to bid on our construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
So,
There's a couple of seats up there.
so before we jump back into the calendar, you know, we have several retirements on here. The one that I really want to point out, and that's Joe Folco. Joe is retiring as our principal from Milne School, and Joe is a class act administrator to the T. He will sorely be missed here in Fair Lawn. You know, it's only been a year and a half that I had the privilege of working with Joe, and, you know, there's not enough great things I could say about the man. He has really just brought such a, you know, it was remarkable to see his past, how he started off as an ancillary here in Fair Lawn and made his way all the way up to principal. And, you know, I wish Joe could stay for many, many more years, but I would not do that to him. We wish him well, and it's just been, Joe, it's been a pleasure working with you, and you've made an impact on Milne and the Fair Lawn community, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I say a word?
Sure.
Sorry.
Well, I was gonna, all right, I had a different order in mind. No, Joe, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I'm just very humbled to be here, standing here with three other people in Fair Lawn who have been great people to work with as well. I've worked with each of them. Kathy Drost, first grade teacher at Milne School, Tommy Van Zandt, who's ancillary over at Forest, and Natalie Peterson, speech teacher at Milne Forest, many different schools. But I've also worked with many of the people in this room as well. I taught with Mary. I'm very honored to work with her at TJ Middle School. I was a colleague of Natalie as a principal. And it's just amazing. I think back to the people who show up every year who come to our Read Across America activities. And again, it's a special place. It has had a true impact on me. And I really appreciate everything that the board has done to support our schools. And I will definitely miss the time that I've been here. And I wish you well.
Let's do this real quick. Can I have a motion for G1 and G2, approval of minutes and policies and no policies?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Housekeeping out of the way. All right, now we get to the good stuff. All right, now we're going to read your resolution, Joe. And Mike, you asked to read it, so...
Resolution regarding the retirement of Joseph Folco. Whereas Joseph Folco has dedicated himself to the Fair Lawn School District since 1986, beginning as an ancillary at Radburn School, teaching grades 4 and 6 at Warren Point School, as well as teaching math and social studies at Thomas Jefferson Middle School, advancing to district math specialist, and finally serving as principal for H.B. Milne School, displaying an unselfish commitment to our children, exemplifying the ideals of professionalism and the standard of excellence, has requested retirement at the end of the day on July 31st, 2019. And whereas the Fair Lawn Board of Education, together with its citizens, wishes to acknowledge exemplary service that Joseph Folco has provided to our children, and now therefore be it resolved that the Fair Lawn Board of Education does hereby extend its appreciation and gratitude to Joseph Folco in recognition of his exemplary service to our school district, and be it further resolved that the Fair Lawn Board of Education spread this resolution in full upon the minutes and dispatch a copy thereof to Mr. Joseph Folco.
Thank you, Mike. Any board members on that? Any comment, Mary? Ron?
So, of course, I taught with Joe for many years, and he was a wonderful colleague and an exemplary teacher. But he was a real team player and made it delightful that all of us at TJ really worked together and had a wonderful time in the process. We really had a great faculty there, and Joe was an integral part of that. Then I know Joe from all the other roles that he has played, and always 100% dedicated, a total gentleman, in everything that he does, and he really will be sorely missed, but you're going to love retirement.
Thank you, Mary.
Ron?
Yeah, Joe, it's been great to know you and work with you as a board member. The passion you have for your children and your school is and the thing, when I got this and read it, I mean, first of all, I was very sad, I mean, to lose you. I was very happy for you, because you worked hard. But to watch how you started as an ancillary and worked your way up, there's a lot of hard work on your own part to get to where you want it to be, and that's a tribute to the kind of character that you have as a man. So I just want to wish you the best of luck. I do. Hopefully you're going to have me back again to Read Across America this year, because I enjoyed it so much, and I wish you nothing but the best in your retirement. Enjoy everything that you can get out of it. And thank you for everything you've done for our children.
Mike?
So I actually met Joe when I was student teaching at Milnes. He was math specialist, and math wasn't my subject to learn how to teach. And it was, as you parents know, everyday math is kind of interesting. Well, everyday math was just coming into the district that year. And I can't thank Joe enough, because I was student teaching, and my first lesson that I student taught with everyday math, like, I have to say, it bombed. And but we got it straightened out, and thank God I don't teach math now for the kids. And he is a gentleman. And then, you know, when he a couple of years ago, when we had this big population boom in Fairlawn, what I had some conversations with Joe, and he knows every single house that is for sale in the Milnes district.
21 right now.
Yeah. He knows how many kids left and how many kids are coming in. And it just amazed me, because he absolutely has the pulse of the Milnes area, and we are going to miss you. And I don't know how you have that many years in education. You must have started when you were about 15 as an ancillary teacher, and then
Teachers will serve themselves very well.
not this one.
Any other board members? Elise?
I just want to say, have a great retirement, and the influence you had on particularly one of my sons, I think is unmatched. You are a phenomenal teacher, just so understanding and so knowledgeable about, you know, in the math field. But I just have to say you were absolutely, I think, one of the best teachers in the district.
Thanks, Elise. Cindy?
Joe, I just want to wish you all the best in your retirement. I am so saddened to see you go. I know walking into Milnes for Reading Across America, it's very dear to my heart. And when you walk into that school, you just feel the love, and you feel the camaraderie. The kids always have smiles on their faces, and I like to read to the little ones, because they just are so hungry for it all, and I want to thank you for making that such a big part of my life as a board member, and I'm looking forward to doing it with you one more time, and I wish you all the best. You're a remarkable man and a stellar teacher and principal.
Emily?
I just want to publicly say how much gratitude and respect I have for you, and I am happy for whatever people, organizations, whatever's next for you in your next chapter. May it be long and as productive as these past chapters have been, and thank you for spending part of your own lifetime in good work at Fairlawn. We're all really grateful for it.
Thanks, Emily. Any board members? Members of the audience, any comments? Yes. Just state your name, please.
Ruby Gilletti. I'm the TK president at Milnes. I haven't told anybody yet, so I imagine after today I'll get lots of calls and emails, but I'm pretty certain that I will be as sad as I am to hear that you are retiring. I was hoping you would stay one more year, but I do understand. Mr. Folko is a very fair person. He welcomes us into the building. He listens to our complaints, and we've spent many hours in his office just discussing life, what's going on in Fairlawn. He does always tell me what houses are for sale and how many. So I can attest to that. But, we really are going to miss you, but we wish you well, and I know that you are going to enjoy retirement.
Thank you so
Good
much.
luck.
Thanks, Ravi. Anybody else? I just want to say, Joe is principal of the largest elementary school in Fair Lawn. It's a challenge, especially on rainy days. So I give you a tremendous amount of credit for the way you handle that school and all the things you've done and all the great things that people said about you. And on behalf of the board, I just want to wish you a long, happy retirement. And we still got you for another 6 months, so, you know, I'm glad for that. Thank you very much. Okay, S1B. Elise, would you read that?
Whereas Natalie Peterson has dedicated herself to the Fairlawn School District since 1974, serving as a speech therapist at Forest, Westmoreland, Lyndhurst, and Middle School, displaying an unselfish commitment to our children, exemplifying the ideals of professionalism and the standard of excellence, has requested retirement at the end of the day on June 30th, 2019. And whereas Fairlawn Board of Education, together with its citizens, wishes to acknowledge exemplary service that Natalie Peterson has provided to our children, and now therefore be it resolved that the Fairlawn Board of Education does hereby extend its appreciation and gratitude to Natalie Peterson in recognition of her exemplary service to our school district, and be it further resolved that the Fairlawn Board of Education spread this resolution in full upon the minutes and dispatch a copy thereof to Ms. Natalie Peterson.
Thank you, Elise. Board members, questions, comments? Not questions, but comments? Elise, go ahead.
Natalie Peterson, I don't know you personally, but I was a speech student, and I can only imagine the great things you did with students, because I know that, you know, I don't lisp anymore or stutter. So, you know, the fact that that's such a dedication that you have to be able to do that, and I'm sure that you did it very well. Yes.
Mary.
So I want to speak about all three, if it's all right, because I know all three, and I know them well from the many years that we were colleagues working together. So for Natalie, for Kathy, and when we read the resolution for Thomasina, these are women who, if you look at the years, right, giving their whole life basically to the children of Fairlawn, and committing themselves to their school and their school district, to their colleagues, and in working together in my capacity over the past as fleet president and so forth, and just knowing that these are wonderful people and that it is a loss for us as a district. But again, we wish them a wonderful retirement, because there is so much more that you'll find to give and give back, and I know you'll do it, because that's the nature of a teacher.
Thank you, Mary. Any other board members? Russ?
I just wanted to thank you for your service. Like Mary said, the amount of years that you put into the children in Fairlawn is amazing. And Natalie, I find it since 1974, the changes that you have seen in speech therapy.
I was a child prodigy. They took me out of it because I was only 5. My elementary school.
No, but I mean, just the changes in the industry, but no, I've known you over the years, and I know you do a phenomenal job. We're going to miss you. I wish you nothing but the best, and Kat, the same thing. Thank you for everything you did for this district. Like I said, to be in one place that long shows you that this is a great place. Yeah, and you've pretty much hit every school, so that's pretty good too. So you know we're both. So, but thank you, and I wish you nothing but the best in your retirement.
Members of the audience? Ravi?
So I've known Natalie and Kathy since I was in school. So they were like 10 and I was like 5. But I did have the honor of being a parent in the school with them in there, specifically Natalie, who really just loves every single child. She gets them excited to go to speech, and really she was just a breath of fresh air for me, for my husband, for my son. And Mr. Rose still didn't have you, but I know that every parent wished that their child did have you at some point or another. I will miss watching you dance on field day. Both of you always go above and beyond for the kids. You dress up, you fool around, you just really connect with the children, and we are really, really close to the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi. Okay. C. Mark, would you read that?
Sure. Resolution regarding retirement of Kathy Drodes. Whereas Kathy Drodes has dedicated herself to the Fairlawn School District since 1985, serving as a first-grade teacher at Milne School, displaying an unselfish commitment to our children, exemplifying the ideals of professionalism and standard of excellence, has requested retirement at the end of the day on June 30th, 2019. And whereas the Fairlawn Board of Education, together with its citizens, wishes to acknowledge exemplary service that Kathy Drodes has provided to our children. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fairlawn Board of Education does hereby extend its appreciation and gratitude to Kathy Drodes in recognition of her exemplary service to our district, and be it further resolved that the Fairlawn Board of Education spread this resolution in full upon the minutes and dispatch a copy thereof to Ms. Kathy Drodes.
Thank you, Mark. Mike?
I've seen Kathy teach, and again, when I was student teaching at Milne, and she taught some of the youngest kids, and she's everything you want in an elementary school teacher. She's kind, she makes the children feel welcome, and she just teaches, she just gets the most you can out of every child, out of every individual child. So I really wish you the best in your retirement.
Thank you, Mike. Mary, you said your piece. Any members of the audience? Okay, and D, Thomasina Van Zant. Emily, would you read that?
Sure. Resolution regarding the retirement of Thomasina Van Zant. Whereas Thomasina Van Zant has dedicated herself to the Fairlawn School District since 1985, serving as an ancillary at Forest School, displaying an unselfish commitment to our children, exemplifying the ideals of professionalism and the standard of excellence, has requested retirement at the end of the day on June 30th, 2019, and whereas the Fairlawn Board of Education, together with its citizens, wishes to acknowledge exemplary service that Thomasina Van Zant has provided to our children. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fairlawn Board of Education does hereby extend its appreciation and gratitude to Thomasina Van Zant in recognition of her exemplary service to our school district. And be it further resolved that the Fairlawn Board of Education spread this resolution in full upon the minutes and dispatch a copy thereof to Ms. Thomasina Van Zant.
Thank you, Emily. Any board members, comments? Okay. On behalf of the board, I want to wish everyone a long, happy retirement. And like Elise said, 143 years of educational experience is walking out the door.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's tough to replace, but I know we'll manage, and I know you've left a great bedrock for the next people to build on, and we do appreciate that. So can I have a motion for S1, please?
So moved. Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dawn, I forgot to ask audience.
Okay. I just, on behalf of the Fairlawn Education Association, like to thank Thomasina, Kathy, Joe, and Natalie, for all that you did for the students of Fairlawn. And as a lot, kind of to reiterate what some other people said, I'm sure you guys are going to go on to other things, but you're going to still serve people, and because that's just the kind heart that you all have. And even though I didn't work with you guys individually, I just, hear about you and know about you from other people. So thank you very much for all that you do.
Thank you, Dawn. Any other members of the audience? Okay.
Motion is Mark and all in favor or?
Yeah, all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
You can't retire. Sorry, you lose. Thank you. All right. Okay, S2, approval of county state submission requirements. S3, no items. S4, approval of attendance, no items. S5, other business. Could I have a motion for S2 through S5? So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Wait. Can we do S5 before we discuss what time?
No, we moved it, now we're going to discuss it. Okay, so, I was going to wait till the end for the calendar, but I think that's probably not the best way to do it. So, what I want to say about S5A, which is, I think, what we're all here to talk about for the most part, is that there are two options, K&M. We're voting on these options tonight. We're not going to, tonight, sit down and analyze each option and try to make changes move this day here, move that day there. I want all the board members to give you a couple of minutes to say what you want about the calendars. You like M, you like K, you don't like either one. But one of these calendars is probably going to be voted on with at least 5 votes, and it'll be next year's calendar. But that being said, I'm going to give everybody a chance to say what they want about the 2 calendars. But I don't want you to say, I think we should change November 6th and to move, no, just...
That's what I was going to say.
So, these are the calendar options that we have. So we're going to vote on one of them tonight to be the calendar. So, Cindy Mark.
I just want to thank the administration and the public for the amount of effort that went into. As long as I've been on the board, I have never seen option M or option K. It's usually option A, B, and C. So a lot of work has gone on by the administration to make sure that we could please as many people as we possibly can. And we will never, ever, ever please everybody on anything that we do, but we try to do what we feel is best for our students and taking into consideration the concerns of the parents. So I just wanted to say that thank you for doing that. I'm also very impressed with the extension of camp and with the implementation of the November week off, if that's the calendar that gets voted on. That there is an option for the parents at I thought it was extremely reasonable rate. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I know it was a lot of work, and I know it was a lot of back and forth, and every time we got an email from Nick saying, here's another attachment of a calendar, I said, oh, wow, wow, wow. But it just shows that they were working, they took everybody's emails into consideration, as I did, and thank you.
Mark.
I too wanted to thank the administration for the hard work. As Cindy said, we've never had so many choices for calendars, but I honestly did want to comment on the 5th and 6th, and it's not a discussion, it's just a comment that I wanted to make. I honestly felt that if you had the 3rd and the 4th for teachers' workshops and brought the kids back on the 5th and 6th for half a days, you'd get to eliminate the last 2 half-a-days at the end of the year, which would make the kids get out 2 days earlier, which would probably permit those parents who have kids attending camps outside of Fairlawn to be able to attend the camps at the first day when the camps start. So I'm not going to be in favor of either of these calendars, unfortunately. I think they start too late and they end too late.
Thank you, Mark. Mike.
All right, so again, thank you for the many calendars and trying to figure out which one was the newest and what was changed.
Hope everybody isn't expecting 15 options next year.
It's a special year because we have the construction going on, and we really need the construction going on. So, I understand what everyone is saying about the November week off. In reality, it's 2 additional days that week that parents would be responsible for their children, and I know it's hard, but it's a necessary evil because of the construction. Election day is a funny thing, and I know the Borough Council is trying to help us out by moving a couple polling places out of the school, but I have to tell you that, just like everyone else, I look at the comments on Facebook, and every election day that school has been open, there's been a million comments saying how dare they open school with strangers coming into the school and all that stuff, and I think that's a little overblown sometimes, but if something happened on that day, we'd all be kicking ourselves. So the only other thing I'm going to say, and again, I know we're not changing it, but there was 4 teachers, the teacher leaders, I would say, in the district that sent the that sent us a note about Martin Luther King Day, about wanting to plan meaningful assignments, and I still agree that if school was in session on Martin Luther King's birthday, that was more, and we were talking about Martin Luther King in all the schools, all the classes, that was more a testament to the man than having the day off. But I understand we beat that to death, but I want to say I really appreciate the letter from the teachers, because one of my concerns was, is it going to be across the board? Because it hadn't always been. So I appreciate it, and I think we definitely, I think the board definitely needs to look next year at that hard and look at your letter, and thank you, Dawn, because you're one of the people, but I appreciate that. And, you know, I agree, I guess, with option N, and the same thing at the end of the year. It's rough to go to the 25th, we're going to the 25th this year, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, again, it's just necessary the way things are panning out.
Thanks, Mike. Ron?
Same thing, administration, I've talked to them, thank you. I mean, it's kind of funny the other night having all the options sitting on your dining room table, going back and forth.
All 15 of them?
Yeah, I had all 50 of them out, really did. Yeah, I appreciate the teachers of the letter, and I'll be honest, I agree with you, Mike. If they're going to do something across, I think that's a greater testament. I just think it's too soon at this point, so if they're going to do that next year, it's an option. We know next year we can be in school, and I would love to see that. I'll be honest with you, starting the 9th, again, I know a lot of people, again, I wasn't on Facebook a lot, but a lot of people emailed me complaining, and I was like, it's 2 days. And it's 1 year because of the construction, because that first summer with the big chunk of it's going to get started right there would be nice. But I do like to see the kids getting out on the 23rd more than the 25th. I do understand the problems with the November days and the absenteeisms. And I know it's a problem that the district's got to face, and our superintendent and the administration has looked at some of the absences. But again, for years, I've not been a proponent of the February break. I've always said Friday to Monday is good enough. I know guys been shot down and screamed at because different things. Like I said to somebody, when I went to school, you had Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday off, and that was it. You didn't get a week. So I personally like to work, but I would like to see. Also, with Election Day, I know that they're looking at moving the polling places, so again, next year, with the possibility, if it does, again, we're never, like Cindy said, we're never going to make everybody happy, okay? And I've talked to people in other districts. There are 2 other districts that actually do have the week of November off every year. They have it off every year with that because of the teachers' convention. And no, they're not moving the teachers' convention to June, that 3 people emailed me and said we should tell them to do. Okay,
you didn't take care of that already?
No. I asked if I can call school board and say, could you move the convention to June? I said, no problem. So I've always been a proponent to get the students out as soon as possible in June because of the heat. And also looking at these calendars, and looking at the past calendars, we're really right where we are. So I know with the camp, the go-away camps, I could be wrong because I don't, but I don't think they go through the last week because we've always been in this week for graduation. Excuse me?
No, we're not.
All right, well, I'm just making a comment call, all right, please? I'm just saying, because I know where my convention is, but again, I like to see the kids get out a little sooner because it's not only the heat, but I just feel our summer's getting shorter and shorter every year for these children, so that's where I stand.
Emily?
Okay, so commentary and then some specific things. So I also am appreciative to the administration for all the hard work that goes into this. I think the calendar is a great example of something where there's a lot of different interests at play, and by definition we should be dialoguing with different stakeholder groups, and it should take us multiple discussions to get to that optimal solution when the optimal solution kind of defies an easy answer. And so I also just want to thank the community members who are here tonight to talk about the calendar, who've been emailing and speaking up about this particular issue. That is as much an effort and really important to getting to the optimal solution as much as anything else. Okay, so I'm pretty strong about not voting for option M, which gets us two full days and then 2 half days the 4th week of June. And I'll explain my reason why, and I'm saying this to my board colleagues with the hope that they're really going to keep an open mind and listening to my logic. So first of all, having 4 days into the 4th week of June, I think is something that seriously needs to be avoided. It's not just because of summer camp, it's also because of lots of people saying that last week, those last few days, what are they really learning? It's hot, everyone's got one foot out, it's late into the summer, other districts are ending earlier. It's just not a good educational value for those 4 days. I'd rather see students spending their days earlier in the calendar where they're actually engaging and learning and feel fully present. So I strongly believe that the full week off in November is not necessary. Having a full week off in November, I think, is not good for kids. I think a full week off, and then, like with the Jewish holidays before, especially in the context of a later start in September, and then you have Thanksgiving and winter break, a full week off is a lot. And I know that like going to school on a Monday and then going on Wednesday also seems disruptive, but in my own personal view, having that little bit of dose of school rather than 7 whole days of no school is the better of 2 not great options than just taking a full week off in November in the context of a lot of other fits and starts to the school year. It's bad for many parents, especially with the late start in September. That is a real hardship for parents, and if you're budgeting childcare money or you're budgeting days off, like sure, like the total number of days might be kind of the same, but the pacing of how you ask to get out of your workplace, like if you're asking every 3 weeks for additional days away, if you spread it out a little bit more, maybe it's a little bit more tolerable to your managers or whoever's overseeing that aspect, and it's uncomfortable and stressful. And if you have to spend extra money on childcare, if you spread that out over an 8-month period as opposed to over a 4-month period, maybe parents can stomach that a little bit. We're asking parents a lot by having school start 2 days later. I know it only seems like 2 days, what's the big deal? But every day is its own struggle for a lot of parents. Every day is a different solution, and just managing that, it's time and money and mental energy. And it's a hard pill for me to swallow with, trying to understand the needs of construction, but I hear from administration, I hear from my board colleagues that that's kind of a non-negotiable, that that's really, really important, and I want to listen to that. So I think if we're having school start later, the least we can do is not have that full week off in November. Now, regarding Election Day, specifically, my understanding from colleagues on the council, as was discussed in their public meeting, is that the Election Day security concerns are being addressed, and they're being addressed quickly, in fact quickly enough where we could even reconsider whether we completely close the schools.
I want to interrupt only because I spoke to the mayor about this specifically.
Okay, very good.
And what he told me was
yes.
that he spoke to Bergen County Board of Elections. He spoke about the 3 schools we're most concerned about, which is Edison,
Okay.
High School, and
Forest.
And Bergen County Board of Elections is going to come to town, I believe tomorrow, to go to the high school and go over to the community center and take a look and see if we can do that. So he's not sure what the timing is as far as when it'll be available, and he's not sure what the timing is as far as looking at the other 2 here and in Forest. So just to clarify, I had that conversation with him specifically yesterday, and I said, can I bring this up tonight? And he said, sure, be my guest. So high school is being looked at tomorrow. We don't know when we're going to get a decision, but he doesn't know when they're going to get back to him on the other thing.
So I will tell you my understanding of the situation. So there are 10 school buildings that serve as polling places. 7 of the 10 have entrances to their gymnasiums where you don't have to go through the school to access the polling place. So you can effectively lock and secure the doors that go from the gym to the rest of the school, and you have voters enter through an entrance where they're not passing the school space. You can secure that. That leaves the 3 schools, which is the high school, Forest, and Edison. The high school, the proposed idea is to have that polling place move from the high school into the community center, which is a few blocks down. You would need county approval to do that, but there's no indication yet of why the county would turn that down. And the fact that they're coming tomorrow, like 24 hours from now, we should have a better sense of whether that's feasible. It's a big deal, I think, to, you know, once you close altogether for Election Day, it's hard to go back. As a board member, I would, in fact, like, I would even say table the vote if that's what's hanging us up on it, and have a special action meeting.
That's only one school, though, but go ahead.
Okay, so let's talk about the other two. So Forest, my understanding is council members are going to change the entry point for the gym, so
Council
that
members aren't going to change anything at the school.
for vote where voters enter the school.
No,
There's a back entrance.
No, I don't, listen, we're getting way into the
But
weeds
this
on
is-
this.
no,
But
this
no,
is
but
important.
it's important that people understand we're looking at it. It's not important that tonight, right now, we discuss the particulars of which doors people are going to come in and go out.
Gene, I'd like to speak. I'd like to continue to speak, because
Yeah,
in
but
my
you've been
mind...
speaking for 5 minutes, which is longer than anybody else, and I don't want to get into specifics of where people are going to vote
don't wanna
and
get
what
into-
doors are we going to... Well, I'm running the meeting, so therefore, I'm going to give you another minute, so go ahead.
So Forest, you can have people enter from the back and not go through the school. The Edison gym is 20 steps away from the entrance to Edison, and there is literally a police officer, the SR3, sitting in between the entrance of Edison and the gym. So you could have the SR3 assigned there, or any extra security for a half a day, let's say, if we have school open for a half a day, to make sure that people aren't wandering left or right as they're getting to their polling place. So if safety is truly the concern to close the schools on Election Day, there are plans in place that could solve this problem indefinitely, not just for this year, but also for primaries and any other election that comes up.
There are no plans in place.
There are plans in place.
There's nothing in place. There are plans that have been talked about. There's nothing in place. But go ahead.
In my mind, there's a solution, and no one has given me information yet of why that solution is not a real solution to keeping schools open on
Because we're
Election
still
Day.
looking into it. It's not a decision you make from a week ago to now. That's why.
Okay, so just to conclude, that I think the full week off in November is not necessary. If we are going to give school off on Election Day because of the beliefs of other people sitting around the board at this moment, okay, but I would not, I'm going to strongly favor the option with some school that week, because there's no reason to go 4 days into the fourth week of June.
Thank you. Mary?
I have a question, if I could address it to the superintendent.
Certainly.
You've presented two calendars after agonizingly going through quite a few letters of the alphabet. Do you have no preference, or do you have a preference? You are the superintendent, and I would like to hear if you have a preference.
I do have a preference.
All right, I'd like to hear what it is.
My preference is option M.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Wilkin?
We have to be careful as board members how we say certain things, because sometimes when we are making a point to try to persuade our fellow board members, we may do the opposite because of how we are coming about when we say certain things. Next year is a construction year. We have an overcrowding issue in Fair Lawn, which is the number one issue in my mind as a board member. Overcrowding is a major issue. So we are, the Board of Education is doing something about it by having this construction. So everybody needs to be patient, understanding, and make the best out of what will be an uncomfortable situation. Okay? If we start finding something wrong with every single thing that we are proposing, it sends really a bad message, you know. And we could get people scared. We could get people in the community may think that we have made up our mind in regards to the schools for the polling sites and why not. And that's not as simple as some people think it is. It's a major issue to change a polling site. In regards to the calendar, I look at all the options provided. I also sat on the dining table, and my rationale was, you know, I'm a parent too. The least traumatic calendar, in my view. Before I say the calendar that I support, you know, the February break, I asked people that have been in town for many years, who have lived here for 30, 40 years. The February break is a tradition. It's a tradition. And I believe we have to respect our traditions because that unite us. But at the same time, if we're not able to have our traditional break in February, I think parents are entitled to have a break. Parents are entitled to have a break. I heard from parents. I heard from educators. I spoke to our fellow board members, and I commend the administration for having so many different options, going back to the drawing board to please so many people. And at the end of the day, everybody's not going to be pleased. You're going to find somebody who's going to have a problem with whatever calendar we choose because it doesn't fit his or her particular personal situation. All right? So we have to make decisions based on what's best for the children, in my view, you know, and what's also cost-effective for the taxpayers. The calendar that offers an opportunity for parents to have a break, an opportunity to have that first week of construction during the year, which is the foundation of the beginning of the construction. It's calendar option M, and the administration went out of their way to reach out to the town for an extended week for summer camp in the summer, which I heard from many neighbors. Neighbors actually looking at camps out of state, some of them out of county, because they wanted to have an option. You know, it's not the perfect option, but the administration have done that. Also, the extended camp during that week of November, very affordable for the entire day. So I appreciate the letter we received from the educators about the MLK Day Day of Service. That is something that we should look into in the future. What I think option M gives the construction addresses the construction issue the first week, provides a week of break for the kids during November, and it's cost effective also. If you have school only 2 days during that week, and you don't have the February break, you're gonna have all those substitutes, all the teachers out, all the kids. The quality of education a child receives when there are 3 days off during that week. You know, I'd rather have the parents to have an option to be with their children. So I'm supporting M.
Thank you, Morgan. Elise.
I just want to say a couple of points. Number one, Nick, when you do the calendar, there's union representation on the calendar committee. So these two calendars, whichever one we choose, has already been looked at by, I just want that to be publicly known, that because all districts don't have representation of the teacher community on their calendar creation, idea. Also, as a board member, I get equal emails. Get rid of the February vacation, keep the February vacation. So I think you're right. Whichever calendar we choose, we're going to get emails, from either side. You can't please everyone all the time. And I think as a board member, I agree with the teacher letter, but I think it's a little too late. I think maybe for next year is something that we should deeply consider, because there are several of us that have thought that way for many years and then found out that it really wasn't happening. We were under the assumption that that was happening, but found out, that it wasn't like a district-wide idea, and this could be like a district-wide initiative, which might be really nice. And, as a board member, I feel like sometimes you have to make the hard choices. You spoke before about, whatever you had said earlier, I forget exactly the comment, but I think that's, you get elected and you have to make a hard choice, and these are like right now we're down to these choices, and I don't have a problem with that, knowing what's gone into it. And I want to just mention one more thing. After 9/11, which was 2001, we administratively was worked very hard to secure the schools for elections. It was then that the county called and said, this presidential election, it was a couple years later, whatever, we don't want you to open schools on election. And we were following what we were told by the county. Now, as far as moving the teacher convention, that might be something that schools can tell them, make it in October or make it a different month, because it is kind of ridiculous, where it sits. But that's a whole, but that's a whole other issue and has nothing to do with us. We could, ask, we could certainly send a letter, but I'm just saying, we worked very hard to figure out where we could get into the schools, where nobody can come into the buildings. Like, that was something that was deliberately done as a board initiative so that the schools would be safe. We even made the parking in the parking lots. We put up signs to say that it was temporary parking so people could come in and vote. I mean, we've done a lot. I mean, obviously time marches on and you learn from what's happening. So, if the other schools can be secured, because at that time we asked to move polling places and we're denied because people already vote at the rec center, and then it's too many people coming to vote. So it was denied in the past to move the vote. So if there's a way to secure, either one of the gyms, however it would be done, I'm sure we could figure it out. In my mind, I didn't realize that there were like a couple. So I know here there's no entrance to the gym because they're both in the building. But at any rate, I also.
Well, that's why we're continuing to look at it.
Yes,
There's no decision.
I totally understand that. But like I said, as a board member, I feel like sometimes you have to make a hard choice, and people get mad at you, or they send you an email and you respond and have a conversation with them. And this is the calendar. That's it. You send your kids to school. It's 180 days. It doesn't matter. It's 180 days if you're off the first. If you're on the first, it's 180 days. So. If you have children, you have to take care of them, whenever the school's off. That's your responsibility as a parent.
Thank you, Elise. All right, I'm going to open up to the audience. Just ask that you step up, sign in, and state your name, and I'm going to keep everybody 2 minutes.
Okay, my name is Larissa Mendez Downs. I'm at 1407 Rockland Road, obviously. I wanted to know if voting was, I have two things. If voting was our concern, why then doesn't either of the calendars have June 2nd, which is the presidential primary date, closed? If that's our big concern, particularly since we've just spent $500,000 on security. And two, I know that we haven't passed the federal equal rights amendment law, but Jean, with all due respect, you cut off Emily when she was getting to her 5-minute limit, and let Mr. Santana go on and on, so maybe next time.
Well, first of all, equal rights amendment means nothing in this context, number one. And number two, I was correcting Emily, who was telling me that the decision had basically been made. When I only had the conversation, and I gave her more time, And
I respect Mr. Santana's comments, they were well met. Thank you, sir, and welcome to the board. I just wanted to say that you did not let her finish her comments.
I did.
That is all.
I let her finish.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Sorry. Hi, good afternoon. Hi, everyone. Keith Lazarus. My daughter goes to Westmoreland. My son will be going next year. First, Mr. Superintendent, I think it's a great option you have about the camp. Going in November, and I certainly understand, imagine all the items I can this. did have a few questions though. The nominal cost, like kids also are going to go to before and after care. Will that cost be reduced for that month in November if the schools are closed and you decide to do the camp?
So the before and after care, that would be included in the cost. I think it goes from like 8 till 6 o'clock at night or something.
If it's school's closed, we don't take the before and after care, you don't pay for that week. So if the school is closed that week and you're in camp, it would.
Well, no, I was talking about, well, actually, I don't think that's true, because for the week of December, from this month of December, I still have to pay the full month. And I understand, certainly understand everyone needs to get paid, but I was just wondering, there will be, I imagine teachers working that week, would the parents who pay for before and after care then get a breakdown of they're going to be paying the nominal fee for school?
So nothing is set in stone yet. If you like, if you want to give me an email or if you want to write your email down, we could always look into it and get back to you. Right now, the most important thing that we were trying to do is offer something for parents to relieve the child care, but nothing's set in stone yet. So yeah, if you want to write your email down, we'd be happy to get back to you.
Thank you. Just two extra things. I also think it's great that the camp would be extended if option A was to happen. The question, is there going to be an additional, well, the parents going to have to pay additional money though it's extended? I think you know the answer, but I just want to...
We'll get back to you on all of that.
Okay, and the last thing I just wanted to say is, I certainly understand and I agree with a lot of what you said. The only thing I don't agree with you, and I was actually born in New York City, and I know it's totally different. I moved to Fairlawn for several reasons, but the schools there, I believe, do finish that week or the second to last week, and I understand, you're right, in essence, what are they really doing? They're going to put a television on, but on their hands, if even one extra day will help with the kids, parents don't have to worry about the child care, they will help. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's very much underappreciated.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Lisa Cohen. I am one of those emails that you got, and I did want to express my thank you to the very few of you that wrote back to me individually. I appreciate that. I felt like my words were being heard. It would have been nice to hear from more of you. I think that if you want to represent the town, you need to have a conversation with the parents, which is why I believe there are so many here this evening. And to that point, I think that there seems to be a lot of indecision still, and I think requiring a vote this evening may not be in anybody's best interest. I also urge you to listen to what Mr. Sindel and Dr. Cohen had to say tonight. My opinion, coming from a two-income family, option K is by far and above the only option, perhaps with Mr. Sindel's amendment, that provides two-income families with the proper relief we need. Listen, I'm an architect. I understand the construction process thoroughly. I also understand that 1 or 2 days here and there does not make or break a construction schedule. I also understand that we can bend over backwards for this construction schedule and they can still be 2 months behind. But we can do everything in the interest of our families to make this adjustment. This year is an adjustment year, I get it, but everything we can do to make this year as palatable as possible. I think that if we can have 2 half days that first week of September, if the schools are safe enough for our loving teachers, they should hopefully be safe enough for our children. And quite frankly, I don't know the statistics. My guess is that the town camps do not have the ability to hold every single student in our district within their camp. I personally send my children out of district for camp, and I can tell you that we're having a very, very big problem because there is an expectation throughout the country of when the school year starts and finishes, and these camps are overlapping with our school schedule because we're ending so late. And though I know that this is a personal issue for me, my daughter is going to have to make the decision between attending her 6th grade graduation and the first week of camp, which costs me quite a pretty penny. So I just ask that perhaps we finesse option L if we can, or at least vote on option L versus option M. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Any other members in the audience?
Nick Ruffalo, 303 Lions. I have hopefully a little less, so we have the 2 half-days at the end of school, and I agree, it's hot and nothing ever happens. Is there a reason why there's 2 half-days at the end of school?
Yeah.
Which option are you looking at?
Either one.
Every year.
Why are there 2 options?
2 half-days, and I just
Yeah,
never...
we spoke about, why are there 2 half-days, you're saying?
Yeah, like
at
what,
school?
why, I mean...
As opposed to what? Having 2 full days?
As opposed to just having 2 full days and then ending,
Okay.
or, and I'm not proposing solutions, so to speak, but if we were to take Martin Luther King Day and say, we're not going to take it off, we're going to really try and push for, a really good educational thing, and then that's plus 1 day, and then take those 2 half-days and make them go away, then school ends 2 days earlier, and that would mean on option A, we have that last week. Again, I'm not, I realize you're looking to vote, I'm just trying to understand why we have those 2 last half-days.
The half-days were, so we could, have everybody come in. We have to meet a certain amount of days by DOE requirements and the state requirements. We thought it would be more beneficial to have half-days. We could meet the 4-hour requirement by law, and then we could have everybody dismissed, and hopefully we could start construction in the afternoon again.
So it counts as a full day,
Yeah, it does.
being in there, even though it's half-day?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
yes,
what I want to
yes.
understand.
Thank you. Any other members of the audience? Dawn?
Hi, Dawn Ebner, teacher and Fairlawn Education Association. First, Fairlawn Education Association, and then I'll do teacher next. We were, as we said, we have consultation with administration regarding the calendar, and although this isn't, the calendars have been revised since I had seen it, and I know that there was a work session to work on that. But at this point, the association, I would have to say the one that is most similar to the one that we had initially discussed was, it would be calendar M. It's most closely mirroring the one that we had, recommended or decided that would be in the best interest of the students as well as the staff. That's Fairlawn Education Association, now Dawn Ebner.
You have to write your name down again.
Now I write my name down.
The petite.
Yeah. So, I appreciate the fact, Mike and Ron and Elise, you really brought up, the letter that came from the teachers. I happen to be one of those, teachers who's, I'm the advisor of the National Honor Society. And I would ask, even if, certainly, we would like to, try to get this up and running, service day for the kids, and I do understand that at this point you guys want to vote on the calendar, so it might not be an option to reconsider Martin Luther King Day at this point, but if for some reason this was put on the, put on the back burner and we had another opportunity to discuss that, I'd really like to have the opportunity to even sit down with the board and discuss that. But if not, moving forward, maybe it's something that we can consider future years, and what we can work on with the administration and the board, and truly making it for anybody who, probably a lot of people aren't aware, but we wanted to make it a true day of service, because we thought that would be the best thing to honor Dr. King, as opposed to having the day off to go shopping at the mall for discounts. We felt, myself and a couple of other teachers, felt that it would be a real honor to really and to integrate with the kids what service is about, teach them about service, and we thought it would be a wonderful opportunity for that. So I thank you all for reading the letter and at least considering our position as teachers. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No one else? Okay. I'm going to make a couple of comments. Regarding the last week of June, I understand the whole camp thing, I really do. I never heard about it before. It's the first time it's come up that I've heard of it, and I sympathize, but I just don't see how we can do anything to change it at this point. Second thing is, every single classroom in a district is air-conditioned. I know the hallways aren't air-conditioned, the gymnasiums aren't air-conditioned, but every single classroom is air-conditioned. Regarding the election and moving the polling places, my discussion with the mayor was strictly with the high school. I was told by him the only thing on the agenda right now is the high school being looked at by the county. There's been no discussion about Forest, there's been no discussion about Edison. So it may be coming. After they come tomorrow, there may be another discussion. As of right now, it's merely a review of the high school and, well, not even to go to the high school, they're going to go to the rec center to make sure that there's room to move those polling places into the rec center without causing a bottleneck, which is one of the things they have to worry about. They don't want people who are used to waiting 3 minutes to vote to have to all of a sudden now you've got wrapped around a building waiting for 45 minutes. So as of right now, the only discussion is the high school. Nothing with the county regarding other schools. And the final thing is, Elise said it, whether they're going to school the first 2 days in September or the last 4 days in June, it's 180 days, maybe 183 depending on the snow days. They're just in different places. So the net is 180 school days, whether it's 22 in 1 month and 20 in another, or 21 and 21, it's the exact same amount of days. So I think that, yes, it's a pain in the neck. I understand that. It is hard to find daycare, especially when you break things up. You got a day here, you got a day there, you got to take a day off from work. We've all been there. When my kids were little, the same thing happened. But I originally didn't want the November, the whole week off for November, and I voted against it the last time we talked about it, which was at the work session. But now that Nick has gotten the community school to get the extra week for August and get a whole week at a very reasonable price for November, I think option M is the best of 15 bad options. So, that being said,
15 bad options. A lot of work put into those 15 bad options.
well, this is the best
I
option.
understand.
So S5, who made the motion, who seconded it?
So Ron motioned and Cindy seconded.
All right, so S5, can we just make that S5A, make that option M, since that's the one being recommended by the superintendent? Is that okay with the mover and the seconder?
Can I make a motion before?
What's that motion?
Can I make a motion to table the vote on the calendar until we have more information from the borough about election considerations?
It's a motion to postpone.
Right, you can't table it, postpone it.
No,
Post it.
okay.
Yeah. She can make that motion.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's just, let Brooke write this down.
So we need a second for her
Second?
motion.
I'll second it for the sake of discussion.
Okay. Now we're going to have a discussion on Emily's motion. Emily.
So I think I was actually the one who said at a community relations meeting that we should talk about the calendar earlier, and it came up that there was construction, and I said that's absolutely all the more reason why we should be talking about this earlier, and I'm appreciative of this fact. My motion is not to delay this for weeks and weeks or months and months, but if we're going to get additional information about the high school polling place tomorrow, and that could influence our decision about that one day in November, which could influence our thinking about the Monday and Wednesday, which could influence how long the school year goes into June, I think it would behoove us as a board to wait and get that information, and if necessary, vote on the calendar. Can you vote on the calendar on January 2nd at our reorg
could,
meeting?
yeah.
Yes, which is not that long of a delay.
Any,
Question.
Cindy?
What happens if we don't get any information? I mean, the county doesn't have to do anything. They're coming here tomorrow for one school, but the other 2 facilities haven't even been talked about. What's the security that, I don't mean security, what is the, I mean, we have to vote on it in January, so are we going to be sitting here in January saying, well, let's give it another month before, so we can wait to hear what happens? We're, you know, the county is not on our timeline. We're not on the county's timeline. They're coming for one facility, and yeah, I'd like to hear about it too, but I don't know that the other 2 facilities are even in their radar. There's been no indication.
As far as I know,
of that.
they're not. I mean, and that's just what I heard
That's my concern.
from the mayor. All right, any other board members? Any members of the audience want to discuss? Should step up and just...
I just wanted to say one thing about election day that I kind of...
Wait, your name
I feel kind of strongly that, like, we should stay closed, especially during a presidential election. I just think that one of the problems with security in the schools, at least one of the officers mentioned to me, that they're very concerned about the outside of the schools, And I think so much about how the crossing guards, and everyone realizes, like, who's going in and out of the buildings, and there's so much going on outside, and unfortunately, however we feel about the political climate right now, I'm worried that, somebody's just gonna not feel great on that day and just do whatever. I think it makes a lot of sense to keep the schools closed when there's voting. So it's just something I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's her name? She's stating her name. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Eddie Guy, 28-10 Southern Drive. I vote at the rec center, and there's no line ever. So if we're going to say that we don't want to wrap around and wait 45 minutes to vote, and put that against the security of our children, I think that's a silly, silly way to look at it. So I think we should really consider maybe having more voting booths at the rec center and then taking the voting away from the schools.
Well, I think we agree with you that we're just waiting for the county. That was, and I just made that number up 45 minutes. But their concern is that we don't want to disenfranchise voters by moving the polling place 1,000 feet outside of the district, and then they have to wait longer to vote. So
I think if it's important for you to vote, you can make your way to the rec center.
I agree. They're not really that far apart.
It's a county decision, though. It's not
Yeah, I know, I just bring that up.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, any other members of the audience, comments, questions? Okay, call the roll on Emily's motion.
Mr. Barbarulo?
No.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
No.
Mr. Santana?
No.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes, we'll revisit it. Okay. So what we're going to do now? We got to vote on everything but S5A. Okay, can I have a roll call?
Before you go into that, there should be discussion on the other.
Oh, you're right, Mark. I'm sorry, I got so wrapped up in it. All right, any discussion on any of the other S items? Mark, okay.
S5B, you know my stand on merit pay. I believe when this came up to vote for his merit pay, I voted no, and therefore I'm following through again, and I'm not going to vote for it.
Okay, thank you, Mark, understood. Mary?
Yes, on C, wonderful scholarship in honor of Jim. Thank you to the PTA.
I'm sorry, Emily.
I'm going to abstain on S5B because I wasn't here when those miracles were negotiated, and I just want to say thank you to the administration on S5C about the approval of the innovative grant application. I hope this small pilot program proves super successful, and we could consider learning from it and growing in more than one way.
All right, any other board members? Of the audience on something?
Wilkins.
Oh, Wilkins, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
I would like to abstain from S5B. And on S5D, I would like to see if we decide to continue this in the future, I would like to see STEM projects being brought up.
Thank you. Ron?
S5B, the goals, do we have a copy of what those goals were? And how we met them?
Those goals were already voted on, approved,
I know,
met.
I'm
This
just
is just a payment for the county. But yeah, if you need a copy, I could.
No, I'm just curious.
Pull them if you need them.
It's been a while since we voted
Yeah.
on it, and I would like to see it, and not just being...
You want me to run to my office and get them before we vote?
No.
Okay.
I could.
No. All right, any other board members? Members of the audience, anything on S1, I'm assuming, or S2 through 5?
It's actually a general comment on all the S items. I intermittently attend Board of Ed meetings, to offer or eat SGO items and things, so I don't want to switch the state. I just wanted to say that it's often that I come to these meetings, there are a lot of contentious matters where the Board of Ed is trying to represent their constituents. There are
attendees that find a means of getting here to make comments. Technology is at our fingertips. Parents will be more engaged. You give them an opportunity, poll them. It takes 45 seconds to create a Google poll. You send it out via Genesis. You say we have 2 options for calendars. You say we have 2 options for grants, for anything that comes up that's contentious. That puts you in a predicament when you make a statement. If there's little to no investment in getting that feedback from parents, and I think when they're given that opportunity to have a voice, obviously if you get a response rate of 2 people, that's not representative of your constituents, but we are your customers, we are the parents. We want to be engaged, and giving people that opportunity. You already require us all to be responsive via email. It's so simple. It's absolutely so simple to get feedback that way. And then instead of looking at Facebook comments, which anybody who knows research is really not going to be the way where you're going to get real feedback. If you do an actual poll of the parents, you'll get real feedback on how we feel. So that's my comment on all items and future items.
30 seconds, Mike.
Okay, I respect your opinion. There's 2 things. First of all, we'd have to poll the whole town because we're elected by the taxpayers. We're not elected just by the parents, unfortunately.
You're right.
And the other thing is we're elected to represent. You voted. We're a republic. We're elected to represent the community of Fairlawn. You elected us to trust us to make the tough decisions. And unfortunately, if we're not making the decisions you want us to make, or you think we should make, you vote us out the next time every year there's 3 people up for election. And unfortunately, that's the way it works. If we went out and we polled on every single item, it doesn't work. It's why we're a republic, not a thing. So I respect your opinion.
I just think that there are going to be issues that you can obviously do on your own in your working meetings, but what I was acknowledging was the fact that we have a lot of contentious issues where parents really want to have a voice, and giving parents an opportunity to reflect more is what I was needing. Not every decision.
Okay.
I understand that.
Thank you. All right, any other? Not the calendar, all the other stuff.
I think it's great, as a fellow who has some PDAs, it's knowledgeable for this kind of stuff that I've
Okay.
It's great, that's great. David Tratner, he's had knowledge.
So far tonight, like some people said at the end, some people didn't say it all, some people said it in the middle of their sentence in their name. We've got everything tonight, so, thank you.
Make sure you pick up the
Thank you.
Okay. S2 through S5 except for S5A, right?
Yep.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Frankel? Yes. Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg? Mr. Santana, and you're abstaining on S5B?
Everything else, yes.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Spindell?
Yes for everything, no for S5, D, as in boy.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen? Yes, except abstain on S6. And Mr. Banta?
Yes. So just to clarify regarding the voting machines and election day, I will follow up with the mayor, and I will email the entire board and let you know where we are. I don't know what we do after that exactly, but I will talk to Nick, and we'll figure out a strategy how we're going to do it. I don't want to spend another hour on it in January. We already spent more time on this calendar than we've ever spent on any calendar in my 26 years. So I will talk to the mayor, see what happens, and he may say, hey, it's a go, and then we'll have, or he may say, I have no idea what they're going to do, or he may say they still want to think about it, or he may say they're going to go look at the other schools and see what they can do. So as soon as I know something, I mean, no L's done. There's an L out there. Double Q will be the next one.
I'm not lying.
Okay, so that's where we are. But I think we have to agree. We have to do it. We have to make a decision in January because we promised we wouldn't wait for the February meeting. We wanted to do it this meeting. I understand why we didn't, but we have to make a decision in January. Okay? All right. Moving on. E1, attendance, conference, conventions, workshops. E2, approval of extracurricular trips. E3, approval of student, teachers, interns, practicums, field observations, placement. E4, approval of bedside home instruction. E5, no items. E6, grants entitlements. E7 through 9, no items. May I have a motion for all the E items, please?
Second.
Board members, questions, comments?
Comment.
Welcome.
On the TMI education I-STEM series, E1.
What page?
Page 13.
Thank you. Page 13. TMI, okay, about 4 down. Okay, go ahead.
I'm glad to have learned from the administration that all schools or staff from representing all the schools will be participating in this training. And as a board member, I'm really looking forward to hearing how teachers are integrating STEM to promote critical thought. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else? Members of the audience, any of the E items? And I can have a roll call, please.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace? Yes. Mr. Banto?
Yes. P1, approval of appointments. P2, approval of resignations, retirements. P3, approval of leave of absence, amendment, leave of rescission of leave. P4, additional remuneration. What's P5 do?
P4 was changed or assigned to P5.
Oh, okay, sorry. What Nick just said. P6, other business, no items. Motion for all the P items, please.
Second.
Board members, questions, comments on any of the personnel items? Seeing none. Members of the audience, any items, any questions or comments? Dawn, step up, please.
This is regarding, C, it's on page 44, C5C.
Okay.
I just want to state that the Fairlawn Education Association does not agree with the hourly rate on that item, so I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Dawn. Any other members of the audience? Call the roll, please.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
You keep me.
Okay. Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes on everything, no on, what's the number, I'm sorry, P5.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
And Mr. Santana?
Yes.
And Mrs. Urbano?
Yes. Okay, SE1, approval of tuition transportation. SE2, approval of bedside home instruction for classified students. SE3 and 4, no items. SE5, other business. A motion for SE1 through SE5. please.
I apologize, I got lost. What page are we on?
27,
Thank you so
21,
much.
26, 27.
Thank you. Got it.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Questions or comments on the SE items, board members? Members of the audience, SE 1 through 5, questions or comments? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mrs. Frankel?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Mr. Banto?
Yes. F1, approval of acceptance of gifts, grant funds. F2, approval of discard. F3, approval of bills payable, payroll. F4, approval of bills payable. F5, approval of board secretary report. F6, approval of treasurer's report. F7, approval of transfers. F8, approval of state county submission requirements. F9, approval of contracts, consortiums, cooperatives. F10, no items. F11, other business. May I have a motion for F1 through F11?
So moved.
Mike and Ron.
Questions, comments from the board? Mary?
Yes, thank you to
I'll let you do
the
it.
Radburn PTA. You want to do one of them?
No.
Thank you to the
I'm
Radburn
teasing
PTA. Thank you to Mr. Sam Schroes. That was very nice. And thank you to the Vincrest PTO. Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. Emily?
Can I ask as a point of information, when the air conditioning project in the high school is anticipated to be done? Latest possible projection at this point?
It's going to be done over the entire summer with an anticipated completion date for October 1st.
And you, okay.
I would like to echo the comments of Mary. I would like to really thank the PTA and PTOs for what they do and for the donations. You are the lifeblood of the district, and we are so appreciative for what you do each and every day for our children. And I will be abstaining from F11B.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other board members? Members of the audience, F1 through F11? David?
Yeah, I want to just thank the Vincrest PTO for, as a child and a kid who runs the walls regularly, approving the installation of the wall padding for the kids.
Thank you.
Probably saved us all a lot of money in the end. About the construction bid, I'm just curious as to how that works. Do they, beyond giving the money numbers, do they also talk about their plan of attack, or is that all standardized before that?
It's all, I mean, we put together, bid document and design document that allows the vendors to bid on what their best case scenario is. We put within that document timelines and milestones that we anticipate completion dates by. We put in, one of our board members asked about what if they go beyond. We do put in a standard contract of liquidation and damages for every day beyond the completion date that we put in. Anything else, Ron?
No, that's it. It's just you put a bid together, a bid package is put together, and they have to follow everything in the bid. That's how they bid the job.
Is the decision based on who has the lowest, who comes in at the
You
lowest
have to
number,
take
or
the
is there
lowest.
something else?
You have to take the lowest bid. It's the law.
The lowest qualified
The lowest
bidder.
qualified bidder. Believe it or not, you can actually win a bid being $1 less than the next guy. And I've seen it happen because I've done public work.
So it's like being able to win confidence, or being able to win who's...
Yeah, I mean, if you check on after you get awarded, and now all of a sudden we find out that they have major things against them, like that they hid, you have a right to rescind that and then take it away because they violated the trust law, like they violated the law, they weren't honest with you.
You can deny someone who's incompetent, but as long as they are competent, you must be competent and take the lowest of the contract.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Stop, Nick. It's hard to deny them when they're incompetent.
Okay. Okay. Any other board members? I mean, public, any about the public? Elise, call her roll, call her first.
Elise?
Elise,
yes.
yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Where'd she get that?
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
As I stated,
Yes.
abstaining from F11B, everything else, yes.
Okay. Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes. That's it, right?
That's it.
Okay, at this time, we're going to open the floor to the public for comments, questions on any item that concerns the schools. So, step right up, state your name and sign in, please.
Nick Ruffalo, already signed in. If I have a suggestion for something that the board could possibly do, what would be the process? Would the proper process be email the board first, or just kind of toss it out here and go?
You can email me.
Yeah, I think that would be the best way to run it by the superintendent.
You have my email, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then he can discuss it with us. Okay.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the audience? Questions, comments? No? Okay. Okay, your board comments, Emily.
No, you're first.
Okay. So, I appreciated the email about stating our preferences for committees for next year as we head into the reorg meeting on January 2nd and shift things around like we do every year. I wanted to ask on that note what the status is of actually revising the bylaws so that the new committee structure is officially in place so that we can implement that in a timely way and hit the ground running in 2019.
We will have to, in January, now that we've pretty much got it solidified, we'll have to look at rewriting the bylaws at a work session in January.
There will be a work session in January.
Yes.
And who will...
I don't know if we're going to rewrite the bylaws. Yeah, but we could, that's part of the retreat.
Can I make a suggestion that a subset of, like, who's going to actually sit down and draft the new version of the bylaws? Could that be a subset of us? Is that going to be Eugene as board president in the weeks that remain for this year? Is that going to be...
I think it's generally, that bylaws are an administrative function, but given the fact that this is something that's completely different than just rewriting a bylaw after we pass a new policy, I'm not sure how we're going to do it. But, so you're saying that we should have some kind of a select committee?
Bylaw committee?
Bylaw committee to discuss the bylaws. That's not a bad idea.
Meet one night and start writing.
An ad hoc bylaw committee.
An
ad hoc bylaw committee, yes. So I'll talk to Lisa because that's her bailiwick, and we'll talk to Nick, and we'll figure something out, and I'll shoot out an email to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Mary?
Just add there is a DAC.
I brought new ones. I put the act back.
Yeah.
Okay. It was Mark then Cindy.
Right. Cindy and I attended the November School Board Association meeting, at which they presented information on mindfulness, and I know a lot of parents have asked me about the ability of implementing it within the school system. It was presented by an individual with the name Alicia De Lorenzo, who actually did her student teaching in TJ quite a few years ago. Her background is in counseling. She's a yoga instructor. She is a teacher of mindfulness as well as a teacher in Asbury Park. She started off the evening with an activity for everyone to do so that they are aware of their surroundings and not to be judgmental of other individuals, which is actually a part of the mindfulness philosophy. She also stated something that I've said before. There are 1 out of every 5 individuals who in some time of their life will have a mental, not illness, but will have a mental episode. I couldn't think of the word. We'll have and a lot of these start when the child is in middle school or at the beginning of high school. Today's student, she presented as being different than those of generations when I went to school, because the students nowadays are experiencing more trauma and more stress, whether it be from high-risk academic testing or social media or just from terrorist attacks or from things that have happened like today where they feel threatened in a safe surrounding. And Alicia stated that mindfulness in schools heightens the academic experiences, regulates one's emotions, creates a person who is more attentive and a person who is more compassionate to others. And generally, it regulates one's social well-being, one's social well-being. She also assured us that mindfulness could be implemented very simply within each and every school, as they've done in Asbury Park. I was so impressed by what she presented, I went up to her afterwards and asked if she could present to our administrators and to our teachers. And normally she charges for this, but because of her ties with Fairlawn, she said that she would present it free of charge. So I'm going to give Nick the information on how to reach her tonight, and hopefully within the next months you will hear more about mindfulness, and hopefully it will be implemented in each and every school. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Cindy?
Regarding the committee list sheet, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Ron, you'll back me up on this, there is a liaison to the Fairlawn High School Hall of Fame committee.
Okay, right, all right, I'll add that in.
Yes.
Okay, I'll add in.
No, I'm sorry, man. I agree with it.
Oh, Mike, sorry.
I understand that there's a technology report, a technology audit report running around, and I don't know, I haven't really heard about it.
It's gonna be sent home
And,
soon. Nick and I were talking about it yesterday, so we'll be sending it home and then we'll be discussing it in January,
At the work session? Or it doesn't matter?
at some point.
Okay.
Fell to the wayside of technology committee and
Oh,
chair.
okay.
Yeah,
Right, all right.
that's fine.
That's fine. Thanks, Nick.
So let's go, you're probably next week. Ron?
I just wanted to give a shout out to the drama program, the mass program. If you haven't seen it, it's really sad that the first couple of nights there was about 25 people out. These kids put a lot of time and effort into it, but if you missed it, it was a phenomenal play. And I'm not saying it because my son was in it. It was a phenomenal play by all the kids. They did a phenomenal job. The scenery, from scenery to the music to the production and everything else. And if you've never been to a mass program, it's in the round on the stage. It was nice and content. Thank God the last couple of nights were pretty much almost sold out. But the next time they do one is in the spring, if you've never seen one. And this one was actually written by a former Mass student. It was Radio Sweetheart, and it was really, really good. So in the future, try to get out and see them because, again, they put a lot of time and effort into it, and they really do a great job, all of them. The acting and stuff like that, I mean, was well done.
Yeah.
So.
I'd like to echo what Ron said. Radio Sweetheart was awesome. They did a great job, the students.
I think you were a little starstruck, though.
I was.
When we went to the high school last week, he was walking up, weren't you in Radio Sweetheart? You were great.
I interrupted.
I remember you in Radio Sweetheart. You were shaking their hand.
I was. They
getting
did a great
autographs.
job. They did a great job. As well as Westmoreland Holiday Show. Yeah, I was a groupie.
Good math groupie.
I was. Westmoreland's holiday show yesterday, and Fairlawn High School as well. Westmoreland's very nice. Fairlawn High School last night, I was able to go there. Our music programs, just top notch. It was just a great job, and really nice, especially this time of year, to get out of the office and get some good holiday cheer in me. Felt good. Felt good.
I gotta tell you a story real quick. Wilkin wanted to tour the high school, so...
That was part of my comment.
Oh.
Do you mind if I make a comment?
No, go ahead, make the comment, but I want to tell a story.
Okay.
About that.
With all due respect. I would like to thank the superintendent for granting me the tour of the high school that I requested. My daughter is in second grade, so I didn't want to wait all the way until she gets, to see how our tax dollars are being spent. And I'm glad to report to you that there are great things happening at the high school. We have an excellent high school. I particularly enjoy visiting the engineering classroom where they have 3D printers. I mean, I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. The arts, the music, there's a lot going on in our high school, and we need to really support all of our schools, especially our high school. I also want to thank Columbia Bank. We received a $20,000 donation for our STEM classroom. So obviously this just didn't happen. So I want to thank everybody who had something to do with making it happen. I want to thank you, Gene, for helping me transition into the board, and for being my mentor and helping me along the way and teaching me everything that I need to know as a new board member, and for reaching out to me to teach me so many things. I would like to thank the entire board for appointing me early on. I see why you did it. There's so much to learn, and I've been reading and I probably have asked 100 questions already. I really enjoy reading, and I like to know what I'm talking about. Great things are happening at our high school. Please support our school's concert, and let's all get into the holiday spirit. we could all use some laughs. Thank you.
Mark.
I just wanted to say one other thing. I don't know if this is already occurring within the school system, but I know that we've been having over the last year or so a lot of administrators retiring and those moving up. Do we have something like an academy for future administrators where we can be training those staff members who have the ambition to become and the degrees to become administrators in the future?
No. So do we have something, do we have something when we have new administrators that we send them to training so they?
No, he's talking about like a farm system in baseball.
Right.
We have had that in the past.
Yes.
Have you considered about having it again, because we're getting a lot of new positions, and we're getting a lot of, retirees.
Yeah, and a lot of the people that we are promoting within have attended that, so, it does work. So yes, we will be doing it again.
You will be.
And,
Okay.
and they work with administrators very often with all
Well, that's a
internship
mentoring,
hours.
Right. But I'm talking about before that, just those who are aspiring to become administrators.
You can tell me about that.
What's that?
You can tell me about that. You're the district.
Thank you.
So just, when Wilkin wanted to go see the high school, I'd actually never seen a high school during the day when it was in session. I'd go in and visit, but I'm in and out in 5-10 minutes. So we spend about 3 hours going around the high school. So we go into a music classroom, and they're all standing around the grand piano. And it's like, what are you doing? Some girl had somehow managed to drop her cell phone into the piano and couldn't get it out.
Oh my God.
So there was, Andy Temme was there trying to get it out. So who comes to the rescue? Paul Gorski and Nick Norcia. They get sticks and duct tape, and they're underneath, and they got it out for her, and a hanger, and they got it out for her, and she was so appreciative. I don't think she even knew who he was. No, it was some guy. But it was funny. I don't know how it got in there, but you could see it, but you couldn't get it.
I was the best dressed substitute in Fairlawn.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But it was an experience. It was. I was very happy. We got to see a lot of things and talked to a lot of teachers and a lot of kids, and it was fantastic.
It was a nice day.
Yeah, it was. Okay, that being said, the organization meeting is January 2nd at 7:30. Regular monthly meeting will be January 17th, and then the board retreat will be January 26th at 8:30 at the high school library. Okay,
But
so
I know, is there anybody that knows they're not going to be there?
23rd.
You know attendance.
January 20th. They moved it. You're a maybe, Mike. You're a maybe.
90% no.
When is the retreat again?
26th. January 26th, 8:30, 7:30.
Sorry. Thank you. We'll be there.
Okay.
AM.
Could I? AM, yes. 8:30 on Saturday night. I'm not going to a meeting. I don't think anybody else here is.
Am I allowed to ask?
Yeah.
January 2nd, you have it January 3rd on the website.
We'll change it.
Organization.
Yeah, it was supposed to be
Is-
changed.
is January 2nd, you moved it.
Thank you for pointing that
Yeah,
out, Michelle.
yeah.
Okay.
Definitely January.
Take care of it.
Okay, at this time, could I have a motion to recess in the closed session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we can take a 5-minute break, though, and then we'll come back.